Remember Santi LORENTE, the young wonder kid from the last episode that we were interested in signing? Well, he has left for £67 million. Unfortunately, he hasn't signed for us. He's signed for our opponents in the first knockout round of the Champions League, Benfica. We've got to play him again today and again in the next episode. Smashing. Hello and welcome to Club 6 Part 23 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we are at home against Getafe. Yeah? Do we get some applause? That's the best it's ever been in La Liga, and we're away against Benfica in the first knockout round of the Champions League. Since you were last with me, we played quite a few games. The reason we played quite a few games is I was trying to do the Atletico Madrid game, which I think it was the home one. As you can see, we haven't yet played Atletico Madrid yet this season. The first time we play them all year is in April because the fixture just kept getting moved. It was originally there, I think, then it got moved to here, and then it just got to the point where it was moved so many times for various things that I thought, we might as well just do the Champions League now. Thankfully, while all that was going on, we were in some rather splendid form, particularly in the league. We're on quite a long run of consecutive wins in the league, which extends since the last episode, actually. Consecutive wins in the league. We got ourselves knocked out of the Copa del Rey deliberately by fielding reserves in both legs and still struggling to lose against Valencia. This is what the league table looks like. It's looking pretty pleasant, although, as we've found in previous seasons, these teams are just uncatchable. It's ridiculous. We're still 4 points behind Real Madrid, although we have got a game in hand. And we're playing it at 1 o'clock today, but then Real Madrid play again later on today. But we could narrow that gap down to just 1 point. But then they could stretch it back out to 4 points again. But we're already pretty much qualified for next season's Champions League again. We're a comfortable Champions League qualifying club. We just need to make sure that we put on a bit more of a title challenge this season and find our way past Benfica to hopefully put together a Champions League run. We've also got the joint top scorer in the league. Ramazan Korkmaz has now got 12 goals from 14 starts in La Liga. That's not bad for the first 14 league games of his professional career. I'll accept that. So I'm less worried about trying to find a new striker now than I was, because the one that we've got clearly isn't a flash in the pan. He's actually pretty decent, and hopefully we'll show you that again today in the first of today's two matches. He's not playing. I mean, this is what happens when I pick the team and then come. We've been down this road before. You know, I pick the team, close the game, come back to it a day or two later, and just assume that I know what's going on. And clearly, on this occasion, I don't. Korkmaz is injured. He got injured in the 3-0 win over Leganés on the 22nd of January, so he's not going to be playing today. Neither is Amador. Well, that told me. So this is the team for all that build-up. This is the team that we're putting out there to face Getafe. We're still using the 4-2-3-1 system in most of our games. You probably will see the 4-3-3 returning for the away leg against Benfica. It just seems sensible to have Moreno in the team for a game like that. But he seems quite happy just being a super sub, first reserve for the midfield too. So I'm not going to complain. We turned down £50 million for him last summer. I suggest he's probably not worth £50 million anymore. 26 years old. Isn't really playing. He's started 3 games all season, no longer in the Spain squad. Paying him £110,000 a week. Perhaps we should have sold him. But, you know, if he helps us win the Champions League, then we were right to keep him around as a squad player. So this is the team. We've got Markovic in goal, a back four of Ryback, Alvaro, Annan and Gravosti, with O'Neill and Atz in midfield, with Garcia, Lorenzo and Gould ahead of them, and Abraham as our striker for today. You'll see we have started using an advanced forward with this system now, with Garcia coming in, or it's usually Abraham, or even Ruiz has played quite a few games recently. Garcia really struggling. The 2 players we said we probably should have sold last summer, I'm now sat here in February thinking we definitely should have sold him last summer, because Garcia is probably my third choice on this left-hand side of midfield at this point. He's only started 9 games all year. Ruiz, look at the form Ruiz has been in. Utterly ridiculous. Apparently not as good a player as Garcia, but he's been in some pretty tasty form on the left-hand side of midfield, but did get himself sent off, and that's why Garcia got back in the team. And, got to keep him in. I don't really have a good reason why. But we'll show you Garcia today because we can't show you Moreno. Let's get into the match. Too much intro. I don't know why past Kev was playing Garcia. I feel like it's probably logical to play Ruiz. Unless we're probably saving Ruiz for the Benfica game because he's been in such good form. That feels like the sort of thing that past Kev might have been doing. I'm sure we'll get back on his wavelength as this game goes on. So, I do expect nothing but a win to keep our run going because we've won so very many consecutive matches at this point, and it will be very pleasant to end the game just 1 point below Real Madrid, albeit for a short amount of time. It does put some pressure on the team that they were a significant number of points ahead of us a couple of episodes ago. I don't know how big the gap was, how big it ever got, but certainly it's never been as tight as this at the top of the table, with us involved in it during our time here in Spain. Ats now charging forward, crosses to Abraham, who was in miles of space. And Abraham puts us 1-0 up with his 8th goal of the season. We are, I warn you, we're a very good side now. We're starting to play some very good football. We look like a team on the cusp of greatness. I just hope we can... Benfica worry me. The fact that they could go out and spend all that money on a player we wanted, but couldn't even begin to afford to put together a bid for him in January. The only hope of ever getting Llorente was if we waited until the summer and got a big bunch of cash then. There was no way we could afford him now, but Benfica have just come and dropped £67 million in January as if it's nothing. So I think Benfica are probably a decent side, certainly a rich side, and hopefully we can navigate a way past them. But it was the first knockout round. Was it the first knockout round of the Champions League? We played Leipzig last year and got knocked out. Or did we make it? I forget who we played in the first round. It probably was Leipzig. But I think we're getting to the point now where to keep this team together that we're assembling, we do need to be regulars in the semi-finals, quarter-finals of the Champions League. There's no use assembling a team with the likes of Ats and O'Neill and Gould and Korkmaz even, and some of these players. I mean, Gould, who you will criticise me for buying for £70 million, is no longer described as a wonder kid. He's now described at the age of 20 as an elite winger. He is going to be an absolute world superstar, Ballon d'Or winning player. But we're not going to be able to keep players like that if we're just a team that finishes fourth. If we're Spanish Spurs, then we're going to lose our big players to Spanish Man City and Spanish Man United, who like Barcelona and Real Madrid, I guess, would be them, or actual Man City. They've still got lots of, or Benfica apparently. Right, things are going well. You are capable of better. 1-0. In a first half, we utterly dominated. I mean, Getafe haven't had a shot. We've had 14. We've slightly edged possession, but we've absolutely outclassed them. But we've not run away with the game. So we do. I don't think we've moved out of second gear really. Let's get creative. Let's see if we can muster up another goal from somewhere. I'm also going to try and freshen things up a little bit as we move towards midweek and remind everybody how to play this system. Lorenzo's not playing particularly well anyway, but let's get a little bit of game time into Moreno. Remind everybody how the 4-3-3 works, because we haven't really touched it for a little while. We're also going to get Ruiz on because he's been in such good form. That'll do for changes for now, and we'll see if... Ruiz might not be able to play in a 4-3-3. I don't think we've asked him to do it at any point. Although I guess we've seen him do it in previous seasons, but he has been so threatening, linking up with Korkmaz really well, coming in off that left-hand side. Gould, again, seems a little camera shy. Someone mentioned in the comments that he doesn't seem to play very well in episodes. Well, just to reassure you that Gould is good. Oh, he's 21 now. I mean, that's a decent season. But he just doesn't seem to do it in league matches. Let's just check that he is still described as an elite winger. Look at that. An elite winger. Excellent, excellent stuff. But we're playing Valentini out there for the last 10 minutes of today's game and hoping that it doesn't go wrong. We were this close to selling Valentini on deadline day. We had a £15 million offer accepted. There was a £15 million offer came in. I accepted it. He agreed terms, but we just couldn't, because it was deadline day. I had a quick look, couldn't immediately see a replacement, didn't want to do the rest of the season. We've just Korkmaz and Abraham as our only two senior strikers. so had to pull the plug on the deal. I don't think we'll be able to get that much for him in the summer, but I think he's definitely moving on in the summer, because I'd like to think we can bring in another decent young striker. And Valentini, his time is probably up, but I think we pulled the plug on what was going to be our best opportunity to get decent money for him. But as you've seen there, we've already had reason to use him. And with Korkmaz injured, you only need Abraham to slip on a bar of soap in the shower, and all of a sudden Valentini's starting against Benfica. So it would have been mad to let him go at this stage. But 15 million quid would have been handy. Well, as if I hadn't already decided to use the 4-3-3 for Benfica, the game has nudged me towards doing it anyway, because Lorenzo has now also picked up an injury, so he's going to be out for the next week. Amador's still not fit to start, although he does return to the bench. So I would have kind of been forced into this anyway, because they're the only two attacking midfielders we could justifiably start ahead of just switching up the system and bringing Moreno in. So even if we were at home against weak opposition, we'd probably be using this tactic today. So hopefully, if it was the wrong tactical decision to make, the game will let us off by seeing clearly that we were forced into doing it. I'm reading too much into how this match engine works, I think. But that's the one change. Moreno in for Lorenzo. Let's get into the game against Benfica and hope they don't have Llorente in the team. I don't know what the registration rules are like for players who join in January. He's starting. Terrific. Well, we all saw how that worked out last time, and this time we don't have our wonder kid striker available. He'll be back for the second leg, but a lot of pressure on Abraham's shoulders today. Apparently a team such as us should be winning this first leg without any problems at all. They literally were able to go out and buy a player we really wanted but couldn't afford. I struggle to understand some of these comments. If we play our game, we'll win. You're all very capable of that. I like that as a team talk. A calm, just do what you got to do. It's a tie of two halves. We can't. It must be a knockout round. Kev's getting his European cliche book out. It's different to the normal cliche bingo, but we can't win this tie today. But we could lose it, which is one of the other reasons for switching the system up and bringing Moreno in. There is Gould, and it falls to Garcia, and only the third goal of the season for Eusebio Garcia. We aren't built around him the way we were 2 years ago, but he's certainly a very useful player to have around the squad still, and there you go. That's why I picked him. That's why I've left him in the team, because I knew he was going to grab a crucial away goal for us today. I could just see it in the stars. Truth be told, I forgot that I'd actually spoken to you about changing him, and if I'd have been concentrating, I probably would have started Ruiz. Looking at this, Ruiz isn't even on the bench. So there's your evidence that I'm still not even picking my own benches. For those of you who wondered whether I'd got out of that bad habit yet, nope. Still absolutely doing that. And the worst thing is, I noticed there was a 16-year-old striker on the bench and thought, that seems like a silly idea. I'll put Amador on there. So I let the assistant manager pick my bench, then corrected one thing on it, and it's only now the game is in full flow that I noticed Ruiz is nowhere to be seen. So I might pick my own bench for the second leg. We can't win this tie today. We could lose it with decisions or lacks of decision like that. That's just wide from the edge of the area. We're in control of this tie. I mentioned in the last match, we really are a very good team now, but we just seem to, without Korkmaz, we do seem to be lacking that little bit of killer instinct we saw last season. Abraham is a very nice 12, 15 goal a season striker, which is absolutely fine for the Sevilla team that we joined 3 years ago. That would have been perfect for them, but Korkmaz is a 30 goal a season striker, which is what you need to compete for competitions on multiple fronts. Right, guard against complacency, excellent stuff. Anand doesn't like that, who, by the way, he can now speak fluent Spanish, so he should be even more solid at the back for us now. But to be honest, he's been such a good signing. The fact I rarely have to mention him, £37.5 million for a centre-back, rarely have to mention him, that means he's not making loads of mistakes. That's how I judge a centre-back. If I don't say his name very often, he's a Ron Osborne. Garcia has just scored his second of the game. It's the Eusebio Garcia show, everybody. He's just put us 2-0 up with an absolutely stunning finish. Perhaps I was right to pretend Ruiz didn't exist. Perhaps Abraham will never make it back into the team on the left-hand side. Perhaps Garcia is back. He really has had a torrid time of it. I think probably we'd all I had probably accepted the fact he was going to leave last summer. He probably knew he was leaving last summer. So when this season started, I'd planned for life without him, and he was maybe a little bit disappointed he was still here. And the combination of the two things meant his season has been very slow to start. But now I think he wants to be here. I might have to start playing him again. Benfica have just got a goal back. I'm not particularly worried. Even if we go into the second leg 2-2, I don't mind if they score again. That does feel a little bit offsidey though. But 2-2, going into the home leg, we've got to be feeling confident. Obviously, if we can have Garcia finish off his hat-trick or any combination of winning the tie, that would be even better. But priority number one in the first leg of a Champions League tie away from home, priority number one is don't lose. Priority number two is try and get an away goal. Winning the game, way down the priority list. So at the moment, we've hit the first two priorities, and hopefully we can see out the game and just have a really rather splendid result. But Benfica are coming at us again a little bit here. They seem more up for it than us now. It is 2-2. I promised you I wouldn't panic, so I'm not going to panic yet. I won't even panic if we go 3-2 down. But it will be starting to feel like a bit of a wasted opportunity if after being 2-0 up, we end up leaving ourselves with work to do in the second leg. We have still got those two away goals. Nobody can take them from us. But I do feel like we probably owe it to ourselves and the 3,000 travelling Sevilla fans to grab a winner late on in this game. Abraham's not playing. There you go. Valentini's on again in a big game. Good job we didn't sell him, or that would be a 16-year-old striker coming on now. Or more likely, Ruiz would be on the bench in his place. O'Neill is going to come off for Mateus. Just a couple of easy peasy changes. Let's ask for a little bit of passion as well. We'll have our 10 minutes of passion. Gould's got the free kick, and I thought that had gone in, but it was going wide all the way. Gould still not impressing in front of you lot, which is weird because he always looked good in front of the cameras last year. This year, he's very much a MacBook player. He's good at the in-betweeny bits. He's saving himself for a real superstar performance in a big game. Hopefully for the second leg. Why can we not see the team here? I want to see the team. I want to make another change. Neither of the fullbacks playing particularly well today, but we don't have any fullbacks on the bench. To be honest, we don't really have anything on the bench that's going to improve the team. So I think we're just going to leave things as they are. We could do with getting some players fit again. Lorenzo and Amador and Korkmaz. These are players that we really want to have fit for the second leg, so that if we do find ourselves needing a goal, we've got players to come on who can come and grab us a goal. Whereas at the moment, all we've got is a fairly defensive system, he says, playing attacking away from home, or positive away from home, but a fairly defence-minded system with a holding midfielder and a bunch of defensive players on the bench who could like secure things. Perhaps we should have brought one of them on and gone even more defensive. That's why Moreno's in the team. But as it is, 2-2, got to be considered a good result. I'm not going to tell them it wasn't their night, because 2-2 is absolutely fine. And hopefully we can navigate our way past Sevilla in the next episode, which will be Friday's episode, where we'll do Benfica and Barcelona and the Champions League draw for the next round. And then we've got some big games coming up. Goodness me. Anyway, remember, home tomorrow, back to Non-League to Legend again on Friday. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.